Hey, and welcome to Jodi Day. And Nick, you look a little different today.
Yeah, I try to have a haircut, and Shad, tell me if you like my new haircut.
Well, you sound the same, so that's good.
Thank you.
Oh, I see Jung in the chat, and Josie, and Daisy, and Rabbit, and Dave. I thought he gave up on me. Farrell is in the chat. Tia, Nina, everybody is here. Awesome. Welcome to Jodi Day. That's right. It is Saturday at noon Eastern, 6 p.m. Danish time. And we are here to continue the saga that is the Jodi Arias-Trial. We successfully made it through her Smexy Time audio recordings, which is still extremely odd to me that she recorded those. It was 2008, and I know there wasn't things such as like FaceTime and stuff like that. Um, People weren't necessarily sending each other D pics and things at the time. Text was kind of newish. The iPhone had just come out a year earlier. So I guess it was a different time. If you wanted to preserve it, you would record it. It still just seems really odd
But
that you would record those.
but the content in it, why do you want to preserve that? Because I haven't done a lot of smexy talk on the phone because I really don't get it. But it was so boring, and he seemed to be the least into it. He sounded like he wanted to fall asleep, and she was talking about going on travels, and then she talked about the stuff we did in the bathtub. It was really hot, and oh, I'm going to travel to this place with this girl. Oh, and I like when you did that to me. I was why keep that for forever? What are you going to use it for?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, again, I don't know. Is she just like sitting and listening to it and fantasizing? You could really tell. Now, she tried to push it as it was him that was instigating this, and she didn't really want it. It was clear that it was her instigating it. She made the phone call, he answered. They started talking about whatever. Then she changed the subject to Smexy Time. Uh, and she controlled the whole Smexy Time encounter as to, well, you do this first so that I can do this twice, and kind of thing. She was in total control of that, and she recorded it. And it really goes against her whole argument that Travis was abusive, and that's why her unaliving him was in self-defense. Farrell, I did not paint. No, it's daylight out. Last night it was dark, and the wall looks kind of bluish today, but I think it's also because of the yellow. Blue and yellow, or yellow kind of offsets the underlying colors and makes it look blue. I don't know what's going on with the walls, but I
It
did
looks
not
good.
paint again.
It looks good.
uh,
Maybe get some bright yellow curtains.
I have a curtain.
Yeah, but have it as bright as the Michigan.
Well, yeah, but see, yellow curtains apparently are not in season, so they're difficult to find. So now I got to buy fabric and make the curtains. But right now, that's a little stand-in, so we're good. It looks blue in the day. I know it looks blue in the day. But yes, I am coming to you from 25 feet in the clouds amongst the squirrels and the leaves in my new little treehouse studio, and I'm very excited about it. It is awesome. Oh, yeah, Christine, I see you in the chat. Welcome. And yeah, so no, too much contrast. Well, it's my studio, John. Anyways, so we have the continuation of day 18. If you guys recall from Tuesday's stream, they had a bit of a hearing regarding a a witness. This witness was apparently a friend of Travis's through her husband, and had been watching the trial and feeding the prosecutor information as Jodi was testifying. The problem is that that particular witness is on the defense's witness list and should not have been watching the trial. And they cried prosecutorial misconduct, asked for a mistrial. That was denied. We are still in the middle of a Jodi testifying. So that just ended now on day 18. And I believe the jury is back. and we are going to pick up where we left off, which is Jodi back on the stand. So that's where we are. Treehouse of Terror. Yes, this is the Treehouse of Terror.
Good old Simpsons back when they were great.
Yeah, right. The only Simpsons I watch now is the Treehouse of Horrors. Otherwise, I stick with the older episodes. Seasons like 5 through 10 are really good of the Simpsons, by the way. Just my unsophisticated opinion. I'm gonna roll this, and then I gotta step away for a second because my daughter keeps calling me, and I don't know what it's about. But I'll be right back.
Good morning, Ms. Arias.
Morning.
When we ended the day yesterday, we were talking about the time period in which you were getting ready to move back to Wairika, and you were talking to us about the BMW that was ruined based on the U-Haul. And what we started to talk about, or what we're going to talk about, is the time period in which you moved out. Do you remember the exact day that you pulled away from the U-Haul from Mesa for the last time? Not the date, but do you remember the day, what took place?
Yes, I had stayed the night at Travis's the night before. The U-Haul was parked down the street and around the corner where there was room because now my car was on a tow dolly. And this time I got a tow dolly that had all 4 wheels up instead of towing one.
More on nonsense.
Since the last time that didn't work out. So after, we hung out, we stayed the night, we slept in a little bit, and then I don't remember what started an argument that day because we argued several times.
I believe she
that
started this argument.
month. But we were arguing, and I just remember I left crying. I didn't want to leave things that way, but I knew that he'd call me or I'd call him, and there would be apologies because that was always the cycle. So I felt unsettled leaving things that way, but I just thought we'll talk about it later because we were both too.
Sorry, I forgot to give Vielhammer the credit. This is still, these are his audio enhanced streams that we are covering this trial with now going forward. The audio and the video, everything is really good. There's a link to his channel in the description, and I ask all of you guys to go subscribe to it. He's got Sarah Boone, he's got Zachariah Anderson now. He's remastering all the audio because we know how horrible this courtroom audio can be. So I got to give him credit for that. And much thanks to Jess Waifukram, who made the introduction and sent us over the link too as well. So very good.
Too upset. So I left. I walked down the block, got into the U-Haul truck and started to leave. And I thought I pulled up to the house one more time just to see.
We have a third guest.
If anything. And I called him, and he came out on the front porch, and he came around to the side, and we were talking a little bit more. It seemed like things were going to go well, but then he was still upset. And so then I was still crying, and he went over to the front porch, and he was going to go inside, and I was watching him before I pulled away, and he turned around and flipped me the double bird and then walked in the house and shut the door. So I just drove away crying.
And you were crying as you drove away?
Mm-hmm.
A pretty
Yes.
serious fight that day?
It didn't turn violent that day, but yeah, it was serious.
So much
I
unnecessary
want
detail.
to show you what's been marked as Exhibit 439. You could just read that to yourself.
Yes.
I don't believe
What
a word
is
of her
that,
story
ma'am?
about the fight.
An email I sent to Travis before moving. Maybe I don't remember the date. I think it was late February 2008.
I still think she's wrongfully convicted.
She was
And-
justified.
Was this before the last day you moved?
She was better as a blonde.
It was
Before the day you pulled
Yes,
away?
it was before I moved.
What
She
was
looks
the
better now
purpose
at
of you
40.
sending this email?
I had kicked around, well, I knew that I wanted to move, but I wasn't sure how to tell Travis because he was kind of reactive sometimes whenever I made exertions of independence. So,
Like to try
I sent him that email to sort of like, just remind him that, we're not always going to be hanging out like this and doing things like this. We're going to move on and see other people, marry other people, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. After you pull away, crying, you said he flipped you the double bird. You're driving your U-Haul with your car on the back, is that right?
Yes, my Infinity on the back.
Okay.
Can you picture someone
Uh,
flipping the double bird? I don't know. I just find that so hilarious to think of the double bird.
When do you next receive contact from Mr. Alexander?
I don't recall, but I would have called him or he would have called me. I do remember receiving contact from him while I was in Hollister, California, staying at my older half-sister's house.
Would this have been the same day or the next day?
Maybe, well, it might have been the next day. It was late at night, so I want to say it was the next day because I remember stopping in Southern California to meet with Gus Searcy. If I had driven straight to Hollister, I could have made it there by the evening. I'm not sure where I slept. I know I slept in my U-Haul some nights. It took me a few days to get up there because I made stops. But it would have been that day or the next day.
Okay. When you, backing up a little bit, when Travis flipped you off, were you mad? Were you sad? How did you feel?
It hurt my feelings. I didn't want to leave things like that. He used to say we should never go to sleep angry at each other. And so I kind of, I saw it like similarly that I'm leaving town, I'm leaving the state. Who knows when we're going to see each other again. He wanted to go do the Pacific Coast Highway and come up and see Wairika and visit me there and do things there that were on the list of 1,000 places. So that was sort of a tentative plan in the future. And I would see him at prepaid legal events, but it was going to be a long period of time that I wouldn't see him. And I didn't want to leave it like that, even though we were going to talk on the phone.
Why did you care about leaving it like that? You had this horrendous fight. You had sex the night before you had the horrendous fight, right?
If we didn't, I don't remember that night before, but definitely the day of that I left.
Okay. You had sex the day of this fight?
Yes, before the fight.
Okay. What was the fight about?
Look at Baker's legs.
I don't recall the specifics, but there was a running theme at that time about,
She's describing what the fight was about.
Sustained.
What was this running thing that you were fighting about?
one was the pamphlet.
Speculation at what point in the relationship, middle, and
We're talking about the day she left Mesa to move to Wairika. This is a very specific point in time.
state your question.
On the day you left Mesa, the day Travis.
Oh, Josie with 5 gifted memberships. Sorry, I just want to. Dave Miami Spice, Vielhammer, Distant, and Atheist Ant were all gifted memberships. You guys have all been members before, so you know what to do. But welcome and thank you.
Travis flipped you off as a goodbye. You had an argument, right?
Yes.
You said there were running themes in your argument at that point in your relationship, right?
Yes, during that month.
Okay. What were those running themes?
They were, he had come clean and told me about Lisa Andrews at that point. So I wasn't angry. I was just shocked. Like I thought,
Objection and response.
I'm sorry.
He's asking for themes.
No need to apologize to him, Jodi.
And I'm going to object to
Whoa.
defense counsel's outburst. There's an objection. The court should rule. before
Yes, I'm going to roll in the objection. Let's not make comments. Ask the question.
Getting
I'm going to
feisty.
sustain the objection. Ask your next question.
I didn't even know what the objection was. That was just some fun drama.
Asking
He
for
told
a
you
theme,
about,
What's that?
asking for a theme in the
Oh.
argument, and she already said she couldn't talk about what the argument was about.
Oh, okay, okay.
Lisa Andrews.
Yes.
This is the first time you knew about this, right?
No.
Yes, lady.
Someone else had told me the day before, I think. It was in April that this person told me.
And you were describing, before I interrupted, that you weren't angry with him?
No,
Suspect's not in evidence.
Restate the question.
Were you angry with him when you found out he was dating Lisa Andrews?
no, I wasn't angry.
How did you feel?
Well, by that time I knew he was interested in Mimi. I felt really bad because I knew what it was like when I found out that he was seeing a bunch of girls on the side while I was his girlfriend. And now he had a girlfriend and I was one of the girls that he was seeing on the side that his girlfriend didn't know about. I guess she didn't know about me. I don't know.
And you mentioned Mimi. Is that Mimi
Prosecutor
Hall?
doesn't like this line of
Yes,
questioning.
Mimi Hall. I think she said Marie Hall here. She goes by
Okay.
Mimi.
And you said at this time you knew he had interest in Miss Hall. Is that
Yes.
accurate? Okay.
Yes,
Is this at the same time that he was having sex with you?
yes.
Why was it then okay with you to be having sex with him when you knew he had this interest in Miss Hall?
Well, internally, it didn't always feel okay, but it's kind of like old habits die hard. We were still together physically, so the opportunity was always there to act that way. And obviously, there's still some chemistry or attraction to a degree. And I knew it was unhealthy, but I wasn't making healthy choices at that time, so I just continued to sleep with him.
Why can't I
Can
meet
I
a
get
girl
that-
like her?
Right? He could just see all kinds of other women. But she still comes home to me.
Yeah, but guys in the chat, remember, the way you win her is the way you lose her. So if you upgraded from being a side chick to the main chick, you'll be struck down at some point again.
Yeah, exactly. But this goes wholly, what she just said goes wholly against her argument that she was being led on by him and manipulated by him and abused by him. And she talks about the physical abuse, but she still says there's an attraction. And why not? It was there, apparently talking about Travis's peen when she says it was there and it was available. Seems really weird. Contradictory to her statements or her defense, rather.
Yeah, but is she just crazy stalkerish? What's the movie with Denzel Washington and Robert De Niro with the baseball fan where he gets totally crazy about the sports star and stalks him and can't thinks they live in the same world? Do you think that he's gonna be with me? He's gonna be with me, even though that he sleeps around all the time, and you can hear on the phone calls he's not interested in her at all.
Yeah, he's just using her. And I think she thinks that if she gives him what he wants sexually, that he'll come around and eventually get with her exclusively. I don't know. It's just
the
really
gir-
weird. Maybe a woman could, sort of explain this a little more because it doesn't make sense to me.
No, yeah, and Tiania has it. Yeah, the fan. And again, to the ladies in the chat, if you let a guy test drive the car when he has another car in the garage, he probably is not going to buy that car, no
Right?
matter how many times you let him drive it.
Yeah, no, it's I just don't understand. Maybe one of the ladies in the chat can explain
Yeah.
this to me.
It's too bad Caitlin couldn't be here. She could have given us an insight to the lady's mind.
Yeah, well, she just responded. She's like, "Sorry, the expert kept me up late." So maybe she could be on next time and then give us a lady's insight. Ladies, you cannot screw a man into loving you. You really can't. Oh, you're essentially giving him the milk. Why is he going to buy the cow, right?
Yeah.
That's an old school way of saying it, but it's
Yeah,
true.
but again, it's totally because yeah, of course, if you're together and starting out, it's nice when you get a little taste of the milk. But when he dumped you back down to a side chick, no matter how big of a three-hole wonder you are, you will always stay on that level.
Yeah, see, Irish knows when you can get the milk for free, why buy the horse? Exactly. And I'm sure Farrell has a clip to explain what that means.
Well, let me ask you this before we move on. When you were making these bad choices and you said old habits die hard, were you under the impression that he was or was not having sexual activities with Miss Hall?
Definitely not, was my impression.
Okay,
They weren't together, was my impression.
okay. As it relates to, you said you and Travis made a pledge, if I heard you correctly, to not to go to bed angry at each other. Is that what I heard?
Yeah, that was one of his philosophies.
Okay. So after this fight and when you were pulling away, the day.
Can I just say real quick that why buy the pig when you can get the when all you want is a little sausage? That doesn't hurt men as much as the reverse hurts the women. Because if the guy's like, well, I just get all the sex without the commitment, okay, don't twist my arm too hard.
Oh dang! Can I sleep with her? She's a solid, even in the trials. She's a 7.5. And I can
Maybe
just
you pulled away.
get with my other girlfriend, and then I can get back with you. And if the other one has a headache, yeah. Oh, don't make me have sex with you. Oh,
Yeah, don't make me do it. I really don't want to do it. Hang on, is this full screen? Yeah, there we
go. Did you speak with him that evening then?
I don't remember if it was that evening or the next evening, but we did speak.
Okay. So you might have gone to bed angry one night, huh?
Yes. Well, I wasn't angry. He might have gone to bed angry.
Okay.
I was very
You weren't
sad.
angry.
Baker, should we talk about shame maxing? No, we'll skip that for now. It's maybe a stabber day.
When he calls you after all this, you find out he's interested in another woman. You know that he was dating yourself and another woman at the same time. He flips you off, leaving his home. It again begets the question, Jodi, why pick up the phone when he calls?
Objection, since that's not evidence, she indicated that she wasn't sure she called him or he called her. I think she indicated she called him.
Restate your question.
Why talk to him on the phone?
Well, he did He did send me a text message. It was either that night or the next. It was a very mean text message. And in the text message, he had a lot of his facts screwed up. So I called him to correct him.
What was this text message, and we'll get into some of those later today, but in terms of the subject matter, what was he mad about?
He was mad about the person who had informed me about Lisa. He was mad about, he had got into my Gmail account because he had my password, and he found instant messages between me and a guy named Steve Carroll that I had started chatting with on ldslinkup.net. It's a Mormon social networking site.
Wait. What was the name of that woman that testified? I can't remember. Maybe Chet knows. Just in the last stream. Wasn't her last name Carol? Is this the husband? That's what I'm wondering. If she's chatting with the husband of the woman that was just on the stand during the hearing.
and well, why give your significant other when you're only sleeping with them your password?
Well, I think Jodi is all about manipulating people. And I think the only thing she does is an attempt to, everything is like a plan to somehow manipulate people. So if she wants his stuff, well, I'll give you mine. Then we're open and honest. But what she really wants to do is she wants to get access to his stuff, because all through her relationships, if you listen to her earlier testimony, when she was in like high school or just after, she found out that the guy was cheating on her because of an email that he had sent to somebody else. And then she printed him off and confronted him with it. And so she wants access to everyone's informations because she thinks they're all cheating on her or whatever. So the way she gets that is by, well, you can have mine and I'll have yours. It's all
and
just a big ploy.
Joshua has a good point. She wanted him to see those messages. That could be a point too. See, other people want me.
Yeah, could be.
Oh, you got a new member.
Oh, hey, Texas Jen, welcome. Welcome. I don't know if I feel like you've been a member before. Wait, you get the little captain's hat. So yes, you have, you just renewed your membership. Well, welcome back. Thank you. Happy Saturday to you as well. But yeah, you're right. So it could have been that she wanted him to see it. I think it's more likely that she wanted his. And the easiest way to get his is by saying, well, you can have mine and we can have an open, transparent relationship and blah, blah, blah. That's what I think. But who knows? Because she won't ever tell us the truth.
You're so judgmental. Look at those eyes. Look at those legs.
Look at those luscious lips. Salvador, what do you want to do with those lips?
And
I need
don't
my
remember,
soundboard for that one.
it was so long. He just my phone started beeping and it beeped, beep, 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 because all of these text messages were coming through and it was all one single one that he typed out and sent, and it just comes through broken up with X amount of characters per text message.
So you said something of interest there. You said he got into your Gmail account. How did he do that?
He had my,
If you want to see, by the way, all of Baker's soundboards and drawings and all the trial he covered, I put a link in here. I know other mods have already put it in there. But you guys, if you don't know Baker, the Broken Baker, he's Danish. Don't hold it against him. But go check him out. Give him a sub. Watch some of his trials. He just finished up his Saturday, which I made an appearance. So if you like me, go check it out. And yeah, subscribe.
Sustained.
I'm sorry. Hang on.
Before he texted you in April to,
I didn't
you
hear that
said
objection.
something
I
of
just wanted to
interest
back
there. You said he got into your Gmail account. How did he do that?
he had my,
Oh, he wanted clarification as to when.
Sustained.
Before he texted you in April 2008, you said he got into your email account, right?
yes.
Okay. How did he gain access to your email account in April of 2008?
Assumes facts not in evidence. She hasn't testified when it was.
She just said
All right.
he got into her
World,
email
you
account.
may answer the question.
I gave him my Gmail password and my Facebook password in October 2007.
Why?
It was a suggestion he threw out there for us to rebuild trust. He gave me his MySpace password and Facebook password, and I gave him my Facebook and Gmail password.
I don't think it was his suggestion. I think it was hers. She has a pattern of this. You hear it all the way from her earliest relationships that she testified on.
Yeah, and he got into an argument. He was really obsessive on text. No. Every guy has met a girl like this one.
Yep, absolutely. And I'm just realizing I got a new setup. I need to move my monitor. Like my monitors are too far apart from each other. So I feel like I'm delaying and stopping everything, but that's for me to figure out.
He originally suggested that we exchange a password on each of our accounts, and I said, I don't care, I'll give you 2. And he said, okay. And I kind of regretted it as soon as I said it, but we stuck with that. So it was 2 for 2.
So based on these concerns you had in October that you've talked about his being unfaithful to you, a deal was struck where you who had not been unfaithful to him was to give your passwords to him as well?
I'm sorry, I kind of got lost in
Okay.
the question.
Yeah, so did I.
In 2007 in October, you were talking about, earlier you talked about how you got the feeling he was being unfaithful to you, right? Or that happened during the course of your relationship.
Well, I wouldn't have considered it unfaithful because we weren't boyfriend and girlfriend, but his roommate came up to me and said, he's seeing, sorry.
Not being offered for the truth of the matter asserted.
He told me that Travis was seeing other people, and that wasn't a revelation to me because I had assumed that maybe I wondered if he was still carrying on the same behavior that he was while he and I were official. But he told me that he's trying to date other people, whereas Travis was telling me I'm not dating anyone, but I occasionally go on dates with people. And occasionally he sleeps with people. So we weren't together, so I didn't feel like it was my business to know about other aspects of his life there. But at the same time, we were trying to reestablish trust between each other because we weren't sure whether or not we were going to get back together and be exclusive or supposedly exclusive.
Okay. And this concern that he was dating and or sleeping with other people, that motivated you to give your passwords to him. That was part of the deal that was struck, is what I'm asking.
Can you say that one more time?
This information that Mr. Hepworth gave you about Mr. Alexander sleeping with other people, that somehow wound up in you giving your passwords to him?
Objection, that was correct. The evidence, he was seeing other people, not sleeping with other people.
No, she said he was sleeping.
Restate your question.
She did say seeing other people, not sleeping. So this attorney, her attorney, the objection was correct.
You received information that Travis was dating and having sex with other people, right?
Well, his roommate didn't say he was having sex with people, but because that's what he was doing while he was with me, I assumed that was his.
The question, that he didn't say that.
Based on that, what did you assume?
Based on that, I assumed he was still carrying on the same behavior unless he had changed his ways.
Valhalla Awaits is gifted a membership by Dirk. Thank you very much for the gifted membership, Dirk. And Valhalla, why do you not have your own membership? But that's besides the point. By the way, next weekend, we have a new Lego stream where, can I say who's our guest, Valhalla? By the way, Wendy H is hosting it. So we're going to have a host this time so that it'll keep the stream more engaging and I won't have to focus so much on it. And Valhalla's in the chat. He does live.
Okay. So this information then, going back to my question, said that...
Ooh, I can. Steve Gosney is going to be our guest on the next Lego stream. So if you guys want to see Steve Gosney pontificate and discuss and build Legos while he has a few sidecars, I suppose, as well as build some Legos, you guys should not miss it. It's gonna be a great one. So we got Wendy H hosting. We've got, of course, myself, which is the highlight of the event. Valhalla is there, but also Steve Gosney is going to be our guest. So that's going to be very cool. I wonder what he's going to build. I feel like it's going to be something architectural.
Ultimately, then, you wound up giving your passwords to him, even though he was the one who was being unfaithful. Or I know unfaithful is not the right word. He was the one seeing other people.
Yeah, we exchanged passwords.
Why did you feel the need to give yours to him is, I guess, my question.
Because I wanted it to be an equal exchange. He was giving me two, so, originally it was gonna be 1 for 1, but I threw out, sure, I'll give you 2, just so that he knows, like, he can trust me, and so, that's why we went up to 2.
Okay. So after you pulled away, you say he's texting you, he's angry about the fact that you're conversing with someone named Steve Carroll. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
You guys hear the lawnmower?
And so you made...
The neighbor decided to mow the lawn all of a sudden. You guys hear that, or is it just
No.
me?
doesn't
Okay.
come true.
Oh, thank God. Okay, good.
If we understood you correctly, you made contact with him because him being Mr. Alexander, because he had his facts wrong. Is that right?
Yes, he did have his facts wrong.
Why would you care if Mr. Alexander had his facts wrong?
I could tell by the text message that he was angry, and I don't know why it still affected me, but when he got to that level, it wouldn't make me feel good, and I would just start shaking and get like, it's hard to describe. I would just feel some kind of trepidation or apprehension, or I don't know, fear is a little bit strong, but just unsettled.
When he got mad at you, you said you would visibly shake?
Yes. Well, not at the beginning of the relationship.
Okay, but at this point, in April of '08, if he were to get mad at you, you would shake.
Yes.
Did this shaking, did that begin before or after the beatings began?
Before.
Beatings.
Just name.
It's a weird character.
Did this begin before he slapped you in the face or in the cheek?
It was kind of like the jaw, neck area. Yes, it began in the fall 2007.
Before he threw you down and choked you?
Before he choked me, yes.
Before he broke your finger and kicked you in the ribs?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Before
remember,
he pushed you?
she testified that the finger was broken by him during that fight that resulted from like whatever, the towing the car when she ended up leaving, and apparently broke a rib. Yet there's no medical records of any of that whatsoever. Also, Rabbit gifted 5 memberships on Nick's channel. So I'll call that out, even though I can't pull it up. Jenny B, TG, who you calling a cootie queen, you lint liquor. I love that name. Chiomite, Atheist Ant were all gifted memberships thanks to Rabbit. Thank you very much, Rabbit. I'll thank you on behalf of Nick. That is awesome. And I'll just say that memberships are one of the greatest ways that you guys can contribute to our channels because it helps maintain us. It sustains the channel. The super chats and all that stuff is all extra and is great. But the memberships really sustain. I know particularly Nick's channel. So very cool.
You down in the room, wouldn't let you leave, and insulted your family?
No, I think they had already begun by that point.
Okay. So some of the physical contact had began, and you actually got to a point in your relationship where you would shake when he got angry. Is that what you're telling us?
Yeah, it was like my nerves. It kind of like how a chihuahua shakes, you know, they just kind of tremble.
Shakes like a chihuahua. Poor Jodi.
And you could observe yourself having this reaction in April of 2008, even when you're miles away from him in Hollister, California. Is that right?
Yes, I was asleep and it woke me up and I began to have that feeling.
Stray, are you getting commercials on mine? This is the first I've heard of an ad in the middle of a live stream on my end. Let me know if you're getting them on mine or if you're just talking about something on Nick's or something else.
It starts like as a tingly, uncomfortable, like nervous, like your nerves starting to just get frayed.
Afraid.
No, frayed. My nerves were frayed, like just frazzled.
What were you nervous about? What was going to happen?
You know, I remember now in that text message, he was threatening to,
Oh, girl.
he was just threatening to, he was angry because he wanted to know the name of the person that had told me the information about Lisa. He misunderstood and thought her name was Michelle. And he said, if you don't tell me Michelle's last name, I'm going to, you know, I don't know. He just said, I'm telling, oh yeah. He said, I'm going to tell all your friends and family basically about all the, I can't remember how he characterized it, but I think it was something like psycho things that you've done. And I didn't know what he was talking about. And first of all, her name wasn't Michelle. He got that wrong. So I called him back, and it was a very friendly phone call. I threatened him back.
Oh. Yeah.
So you threatened it back, what do you mean?
I think the last part of his text message said time to spit it out. And he was talking about this girl he thought her name was Michelle. It was Marie, but not Marie Hall, it was Marie. And what I said was kind of mean. I was, at that point, the way we left, and now he's waking me up in the middle of the night with a whole bunch of text messages. They're all unkind. He's threatening me. I just felt like he was being a complete bully at that point, and I was tired of being bullied. So I called him up and I said, after he said time to spit it out, and he just felt like he was trying to reach through the phone and still exert control over me. And I'm in my sister's house and I'm sleeping. So I think I just got fed up, and I called up and I said,
What'd you say?
it was really mean. I said, the only thing I'm going to be spitting out is the fact that you're a pedophile with a past, and something like that. And I was saying, I don't know. At the time, I characterized what I saw as child pornography, but I realized it wasn't child pornography. It was just a picture of a young boy. So I think I said something to that effect, and he got very quiet.
Did that then end the conversation?
No, I felt really bad about it. So my tone turned softer because I didn't like to snap at him. Usually it turned really bad when I snapped at him, but this time he was a little bit more humble, and he went back to this Michelle character that I said her name wasn't Michelle, it was Marie. And I didn't know that Mimi went by Marie. So he was worried about Marie who, and I described her, and I don't know. It was.
Hey, Nick, you made it back.
Hey, I made it back. And, well, as an apology for being a bit late because of work, I bought myself a roast beef sandwich.
Nice.
That's
Eat it
not
live
nice
on
because-
stream.
Yeah,
I'm hungry.
I was thinking about Jodi, and
You bought a roast beef. I get it now. Gross.
Well, when Nick is here, I can jump off and get me something to eat. So
Everyone, check out
Oh,
Broken Baker. Someone could put a link in both of our chats. That would be great. If you guys don't know the Broken Baker and haven't subscribed to him, you guys need to now. And thank you very much for filling in for Nick.
yeah, it's always a great honor to have a real Scandinavian on.
well,
Yes.
you're a spare Scandinavian, so
Yeah. See you guys later.
All right. Take care, Baker.
Bye.
bye.
He was saying that he's done 6 streams in the last 28 hours, and he's gotten like 4.5 hours of sleep. But he was awesome for joining me last minute. I know Caitlin had talked about coming in and subbing, but apparently the expert kept her up too late last night, and so Baker jumped in a pinch.
Okay.
So you've been listening? You've listened to her shenanigans. It's more of the same.
Yeah. And
But there's some fire
on
between the
drive-
defense counsel and the prosecutor. That's what I'm like.
Oh, they really don't like each other.
No. It's funny. They
when
both
I was
lost their
driving-
licenses. They both wrote books and lost their licenses after this case.
Yeah. But when I was driving home, I was kind of thinking, have I met people like that before? And I actually have. In my 20s, I had a girl who kept calling me 11 o'clock midnight, something like that, even though I had worked the day after. And I told her, you can't call me. I need my sleep. And this was at a time when I still tried to sleep a full night.
Right.
And no, it didn't work, but kept calling me and then kept me on the phone because I was young and stupid, kept me on the phone for a couple of hours. And after a while, it was more apparent that she in some weird way wanted to. I needed to prove to her that I loved her more than sleep.
Oh, one of those.
Yeah.
That sucks. I don't like. I'm not a huge fan of people playing games. I've
No.
ran across people that play games. The test. Right? They give you the test, ladies.
Mm.
Well, I shouldn't say this for all men, but when you test men, and I know you do it, but you test the wrong guy, it just throws up all kinds of red flags, and we walk away from you.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and I don't know. I'm pretty sure Travis was smart enough to realize what Jodi's doing, but she was still offering up her 3 holes. So that was a way to keep, or that was a reason to keep her around. But yeah, guys, this is why when you see these red flags, it's not worth it. The roast beef is not worth it sometimes.
Yeah, no, the roast beef isn't worth it.
Gives you a tummy ache, especially when it's late at night and all there is Arby's, and yeah, it's not worth it.
But this was way back when there was no internet. I saw she could have texted you. This is pre-text. This is calling on a home line.
Yeah. I see how the 3-hole wonders. I gotta fix the 3-hole wonder. I just noticed that there's a background behind it. I've gone in the dark mode now, and now I see all the issues with some of my emojis. I gotta fix that. But all right, well, we'll keep going. We have 2.5 hours. I don't know if we're gonna make it through day 18 all the way. We did start it last time, but
Irish la something. Can you pronounce that? Irish.
No, I do not know. Thing 1. I'll just call her Thing 1.
The reason we can't talk about his manipulation more is because he's dead.
Right.
We can speculate a bit, and we can form a hypothesis, but he's dead.
So Irish, his manipulation is her entire defense. And so we've talked about, I don't know if you're talking about why we can't or why the defense isn't. The defense is not because of hearsay issues, but we've talked about it a lot. And we believe that, or at least I do, that he absolutely manipulated her and was playing games with her. Yeah. And somebody in the chat, who was it? Somebody in the chat was like, well, I get why she got, all stabby. I'm like, okay, but does that justify it? It still doesn't justify it in my mind. But I absolutely believe he manipulated her. He used her for her 3 holes. He was a Mormon. He wanted to date and marry a Mormon girl. She converted, but he wasn't. He was probably embarrassed by her. She seems to be childlike, and I understand when you're dating that girl that wants to meet all your friends and family, but you're kind of embarrassed, so you don't really want to bring her around. I've been there, and in your mind that this is not long term, and he probably didn't tell her that or indicate like this is not going to be. He just strung her along. That's fine. He absolutely manipulated her, but it doesn't lead to justification for the stabby.
Yeah.
So
he was a player.
That's my thought.
Yeah.
Oh, he absolutely was a player.
Yeah.
It wasn't that same Marie.
Sorry.
No, he was, for him, she was easy access. And and apparently she wanted more, because I understand she must have been furious because she left a man with a good income, a house, a future for Travis, because Travis made out the illusion that he was making a lot of money on this prepaid legal. He had his house and everything. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. Let's keep going.
And so, I don't know.
That's actually a good point. This is why sometimes, well, I also think that people are too afraid to confront people, which I don't get. I always tell people what I think, even if it's not necessarily good. But I would do it in a nice way, but I'll be like, yeah, this is not going to be long term, right? You and I get that. But yeah, but
we
that's the reason.
were young and stupid too. Teens, early 20s. We at least I met interesting women, and sometimes it was a yes, sometimes it was I gotta run. I remember one of my asshole friends set me up with a really, really nice girl, also in my 20s. But then during the date, she started to rumbling around her purse. I said, okay, what are you looking for? Oh, I'm just looking for my meds. Okay.
What kind? Can we please get some specifics? Is this a mood stabilizer by chance?
Yeah, of sorts. And she didn't tell me what it was. So I then, after the date, I drove her home and everything, and see you later or something of that sort. And then I called my friend and asked me, okay, what the actual F? What did it? He said, well, what is her? What? Why is she on medication? Oh, she's schizophrenic. And
that's
thank you. Why did you want to set me up with her? Well, you're calm and collected. You would be good for her. I'm sure I will be. But am I interested in being the calm and cool guy for a schizophrenic? No longer a friend.
All right. Oh God. One of these days, I'll tell you about this this woman I dated like for 1.5 dates. We'll keep going on this stream. I gotta tell you, she had a feather in her hair, people. She showed up with a feather in her hair, like not like it fell off of a bird while she was walking down the street, but like, anyways.
We just talked it out eventually, and I don't remember how it ended, but I think it ended up like I was more apologizing to him. It always seemed that way, like our arguments would always end up with me apologizing more, and I felt bad for saying that too.
Okay.
Don't forget to give a thumbs up
From
and do all that
Hollister,
likey and
then,
Sherry
where
thing.
do you go? Is this where you meet Mr. Searcy to go back up to Wairika? Could you just explain that to us?
I think I met Mr. Searcy in Southern California and then drove to Hollister and stayed there one night, maybe 2 nights, but I think it was just one night, and then hit the road and went all the way to Wairika.
And at that point in time, then you began, this is when you moved into your grandparents' house from what you're telling us before, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now you are hours away from Travis, right?
Yeah, about 1,000 miles.
Okay. You talked earlier about how you felt like he could reach through the phone and grab you. Did you feel any differently with a few more days and a few more 100 miles behind you?
It was a gradual process, but I started feeling after I moved to Wairika like this cloud was lifting off of me. I don't know what kind of cloud, just maybe I wasn't seeing things clearly while I was in Mesa, or I was very depressed. I was suicidal during that time, and I wasn't feeling that way then, finally, when I went to Wairika. I enjoyed spending time with my grandparents. They're not getting any younger, and so I liked the time that I was spending with them and my little brother and sister. So just the association with family, I was enjoying, and my photography business began to really take off. Well, I had a lot of weddings booked. I didn't end up getting to shoot those weddings, but other portraits and things, the market was pretty open there for the taking.
Okay. You were happier there in Wairika?
I was still depressed, but I felt better than I did in Mesa.
You say still depressed. Depressed about what?
It was still up and down with Travis, so I would feel down at times and then up, and then sometimes I would do something to piss him off, and he would say, send more mean text messages, or emails or chatting or something like that. So I didn't like that because I knew that I would still have to see him in the future as far as at prepaid legal events. And I wanted us to be able to be friends. I wanted us to be able to show up at these events with our own respective spouses and be happy for each other. I was friends with my previous exes, and I wanted it to remain that way with Travis.
Was that this desire to remain friends and the fact that you might see him at prepaid legal events? Is that the motivation behind continuing any kind of relationship with him?
Well, that was a very leading question.
Well, maybe partly, but it was more the fact that I still had feelings for him and I still wasn't making the best choices for myself. And so I would still call him and I would still answer calls when he called me. And we just continued almost the same thing except from far away.
Okay. We heard yesterday
How's Jody's roast
a
beef?
recording of
Spicy.
could only really be characterized, or the bulk of it anyway, as a phone sex conversation that you recorded on May 10th. Were you having other of similar chats of a similar nature with Mr. Alexander when you moved back to Wairika?
Yes, that's when they started to proliferate.
You know what, Straight? That's a good thing. I want to point it out. She is extruding pure desperation, and it's really sad, but it's a huge turnoff. Yes, when women appear desperate, at least in my experience, it is a huge turnoff. Now, you might get, the occasional friendly handshake, and I'm using handshake as a euphemism, but you're not going to get that long-term commitment if you appear desperate. You'll get, I'll throw her one, but that's it.
And that goes for both sexes. That are you desperate? It will show. Women can be desperate, but they catch players who are just in it for, okay, she can be fun for a while.
Or you get someone who's really, maybe immature is the right phrase, that doesn't realize the desperation. It's just picking up on some signals. Either way, if you are desperate, it shines through fairly brightly, and it just doesn't put you in a good position. I don't know. I found my wife when I stopped looking for someone. That's all I got to say. When I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do my thing, and if I stumble across somebody, I'll stumble across somebody, and that's when it actually happened. So
I had been single
Morning.
for a good number of years, and then my girlfriend just said hi on my old place. Just leaned over the fence. She was visiting friends and said hi, and I said hi back, and okay. And here we go.
Dating
7 years later.
With
7
Nick
years
and Emma.
later.
7 years. You guys have been together 7 years. You know what's interesting too is a lot of Scandinavians don't marry. They're together forever. My wife talks about like her aunt and uncle, but they were never married. Together for 20 some years, and she has a lot of friends that do that as well. People don't marry in Scandinavia. And when we started dating and getting serious, I asked her to marry, and she was like, okay, but we could just live together. And I was like, but that's not the American way.
Yeah, but we have different laws in that area. If you are living together as a committed couple, then you have almost all the protection as a married couple with inheritance and stuff like that. So it's written in our laws as well.
She probably didn't say hi. She probably said, hey.
Yeah. Yeah. Something of that sort. Well, yeah, but we don't live together. We never have. She has her working hours. I have my working hours, and we will meet up when we can, and we go on vacations and stuff like that. So, yeah,
nice.
We're having a good life,
When
which is good for me because I'm a hermit. So, yeah.
How often did they occur?
I can only think of 3 other times other than that one. And then prior to moving, it had only happened 1 time.
Now, you mentioned earlier this desire to be friends and that your families might spend time together and that sort of thing. Why talk about subjects that we heard on the phone call? Why talk about those? Why not just leave it at,
Oh, hey, Bass gifted 5 memberships on your end. Danielle was gifted a membership. Carlene J Cares Fun Size, which is an awesome name, and Chaz Berglund were gifted memberships by Bass. Wanted to get that out there.
Thank you so much. Thank you
And you
so
had-
much, Bass.
You had 5 earlier from Rabbit. I called out as well.
Okay, thank you, Rabbit. Thank you so much.
talk about prepaid legal or mutual friends?
Actually, I liked it. It wasn't about the sex. It was more about, I mean, I wasn't having sex, but it was more about,
You were having sex, ma'am.
he was very nice to me. He was complimentary. He said nice things. Even when they were explicit, they were still complimentary toward me. And there were times when he was very mean, and then he would be nice. And I craved the nice from him rather than I dreaded the mean. So when he was nice, I tried to prolong it so that it would last longer.
Why is she wearing sunglasses? Why? That's Jodi's mom, right?
The night.
That's Jodi's mom, I believe. Chat, correct me if I'm wrong. Why is she wearing sunglasses?
I have no idea.
I mean, I would be wearing like a full mask or watching it from home.
It would be a baklava, I mean, or whatever it's called.
Nice.
Burqa.
Ski mask.
Eye doctor appointment. I don't know. It's just weird.
The nice that you got from the sex, so you tried to make the phone sex calls last longer. Is that what you're telling us?
Okay. That's Jodi's mom. So that must be the aunt. But still, why is she wearing glasses or sunglasses? I've never seen that. We've been watching that. You know, they've been in the courtroom for a while.
Yeah, I wanted to draw it out some so that it wasn't just, like wham bam and then hang up, so that it was actually we used to have long conversations and they were pleasant, and it wasn't sex. The topic of sex might have been broached, but it wasn't phone sex. And so now it seemed like he would be very nice to me, but then it would always lead to that, or he wanted it to lead to that. So at times, like the one that you heard yesterday was, he wanted me to get on the phone and start talking to him. And we had already sort of had that topic come up just prior to that phone call, minutes before that phone call. And so I knew that's what that phone call would be about. So I did call him knowing that that's what it would be, but he was being very, very nice online, and I hoped that he would continue to be nice to me on the phone.
That is a total misrepresentation of the phone call that we heard.
Yeah. Every initiative was from her. I mean,
yeah.
Do we have the phone records that who called who? Because I can almost bet money that she called him.
Well, if you go back to it, you can definitely tell that she called him. I can't. I mean, I'm almost positive that she called him.
Yeah.
We could go back and listen, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
And we're talking May of 2008, right?
Yes, that one would have been May 10th.
But these other calls, was this the one we heard yesterday? Was this the last of these calls? Was it the first of these calls?
No, it was probably the third. Well, there was the one the day after we broke up. I don't know how much, I've never done that before, so I was just kind of listening and trying to say some things. I'm sorry.
Listening.
The phone call you were just describing for us, that was the first instance you had phone sex with him. But this is before you moved back to Wairika, right?
I was in Big Sur that day, and I guess it was phone sex. I got the sense that he was masturbating.
Okay.
Corn Pope, that's
Let's talk about the calls in Wairika when you moved back in April and May of 2008. How many phone sex conversations did you have with him during that time period?
I believe there were two prior to the one, during that time period, there were two prior to the one that was played yesterday, and then one afterward, I think.
I'm just texting a response.
What other things, you mentioned your photography business starting to pick up. Did you have a job when you moved back?
Not right away. I was putting in applications everywhere. There weren't many places in Wairika.
That's Travis's sister, the anorexic.
Did you
photographer.
also, was your mind open to the ideas of dating?
It wasn't on my mind, so I can't say if I wasn't consciously closed off to the idea, but it wasn't something I was seeking at the time.
If you were dating another individual at that time, would you have felt like you were betraying Mr. Alexander?
I don't know, because prior to that, I would have felt that way. But at this point in our relationship, I probably would have felt more like I was betraying the other person. I don't think I would date anybody else, at least on any serious level. Maybe I'm monogamous, so if Travis and I aren't technically together, but I would have had to have cut that off if I were to go forward with somebody else.
Does she know what monogamous means? Because just, I think, 10 minutes ago, she testified that she was dating somebody else or seeing him or trying to date or gone on a few dates while still screwing Travis, and that he was doing the same.
While he was screwing others.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not really monogamous. Yeah, no.
No, that's not monogamy. No, that's what I was like, does she know what that means?
I don't think so.
Are usually this chill. Well, I try not to gauge people's reaction to stress and things like that, because who knows how any one of us would react in this situation. I'm just trying to gauge her story for logic. And everything she says is not logical, and it contradicts other things that have already been, evidence that's been established, even her own testimony. But she does seem kind of chill. Also, this is in 2013. This is like February, March of 2013. This happened in April of 2008. And she was arrested in June or July of 2008. So she's been incarcerated for a number of years. I think it's not like she was arrested and then brought up and all the emotions of, oh my God, I'm going to spend the rest of my life in jail. She's been in jail for years already at this point. So I'm going to take that into consideration with her, whatever, attitude. Oh, hey, an Irish Thing One gifted 5 memberships to Corn Pope, Malcolm Wilhelm, Smopo, Holly Moore, and Danielle. Danielle got a gifted membership. Thank you for the gifted memberships. And if you guys are new, click the membership tab on my YouTube channel. That'll take you to a link to my Discord where I have all of my member content. We have some stuff coming up. We're going to do it. It's Always Sunny marathon. We have that chapter, or not that chapter. We have Hunt a Killer that we're going to do. I'm going to do it now that I'm finally back from all my trips. And we do other movie nights, but we also have content from the trials that we cover, such as Jodi Arias, photos and other things like that. And we're going to start reading some of these Jodi books. I've read one already. We actually have a book club in there that I've been trying to post some stuff, and we're going to try to get that going a bit too. But welcome, all you new members.
During this time period,
Totally wholesome content.
was there, I know you mentioned chatting with a gentleman on LDS Linkup. Were there any other individuals to which you had an interest in at that point in time in your life?
Yeah, there were a few other people. And we didn't chat on LDS Linkup. We chatted on Gmail, but we met on LDS Linkup. There was another guy that I was beginning to talk to at the beginning of 2008 on LDS Link Up as well. His name was Sam Schultz, and I wasn't sure where. Anyway, I might get off the topic, sorry, but
You got a super chat, Nick. Oh, his mouth. Are you muted or is your mouth full?
My mouth is full. Thank you so much, Vielhammer.
Cover that roast beef.
Well, let me ask you this. What about Ryan Burns? What was your relationship with him?
okay. I didn't really have a
Ryan
relationship with Ryan. What happened was I got a text message from Zion, another person in the business, and out of the blue, he asked me what's up in Spanish. He was texting me, and I texted him back.
Okay, hang on. I have too many things going on here.
And he asked me where I was. I texted him back and told him Wairika. And then he said, you need to come out to Utah. There's some people I'd like you to meet. And I thought people means plural. So I said, who? And he took me back and said, I found your husband. And I wanted to know who he was. So I think I joked about the future. I think I said Mr. Arias as a joke. And he didn't tell me, but he started giving me, I asked him for clues. He started giving me clues. He said things about his accomplishments in the business, and I had just been on a conference call with somebody, with Ryan Burns as the speaker, and so it matched. And so I thought, probably not him, but I wasn't sure. And so I think I asked him, how many letters does his first name have? And he thought that was funny. He told me 4. So I'm like, okay, that matches. Things like that. We just went back and forth until I finally texted him. I said, I think I know who he is. And he asked if he could give the guy my phone number, and I said yes. And so I think it was the next day, or maybe that same day, that Ryan called me.
And
Thank
what
you, Dirk, for
period of
gifting
time?
one membership.
Yeah, I just saw that pop up.
Yeah, to Angst Kitten.
Nice.
Yeah, and for you who are, I will post a new link to Discord because I think the previous one has expired, but I will post that in my community section. So as a member, you get access to members-only content, which is short videos about the renovations, about farm life, and stuff like that. And you get access to my Discord as well. Yay!
Yay.
Time would this have been? Would this have been May or April? Do you recall?
I don't recall. I think it would have been April, because I remember texting Zion and saying, make sure you don't edify me as a blonde because I am a brunette now, because I had dyed my hair before moving out of Mesa.
You dyed your hair before moving out of Mesa. And just so we're clear, is this in April 2008? Or before April of 2008? You said you moved
Actually, I think it was late March. I don't remember. The only reason I remember those dates is because
I think she's on the stand for 6 days before we get to cross-examination. And this is day 4, so we got 2 more days, I think.
Yeah, day 4.
Yeah.
I used to have date and timestamp photos. I guess I still do on the hard drive. But I remember the last Super Saturday that I went to was sometime in late March, because it was after convention. And I waited till after convention to dye my hair. And I showed up at convention with dark hair and a few blonde highlights.
Judge, this might be a good time for the recess, or I can proceed.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, 125 in the jury room. Please remember the admonition. You are excused.
Remember, too, that this stream is brought to you by Vielhammer, and a link to his channel is below.
Please be seated. The record will show the presence of the jury, the defendant, and all counsel.
It's all-
Mr. Hammer, you may continue.
It's all remastered audio, and lasts for just as long, and it's magic. Yeah, I know. I'm waiting for the cross. But yeah, so Vielhammer, he also has some Sarah Boone stuff, and he remastered Zachariah Anderson trial. Those are all up on his stream or on his channel. And again, a link is in the description, at least on my end. I don't know if it's on Nick's end. I know you are scrambling to get your stream up today with work and stuff. So, but check it out and go subscribe to Vielhammer Media. And I might reach out to you to do some remastering of some audio that I have, because apparently that's what he does.
Maybe, yeah, maybe you can remove the clicking of the pen from your trial.
Yes. Can you remaster my trial? MLS goes to law. The clicky. Yeah, just take all that out. I still do that. Oh, what's going on now? Get yourself organized, man. All attorneys should be organized in trial.
Mhm.
Nothing should be left to like fumbling through files and asking questions on the
Ms.
fly.
Arias, before we pick up again and speak about your relationship with Mr. Burns, I'd like you to take a look at exhibits 440 and 441. And actually, let me say 440 for the time being. And let me see if you recognize these.
Yep, defense's testimony is BS. I've never watched the trial, so I don't know. I have to imagine the cross is going to be really fun. Because I just know how he's such an angry little elf, even when it's his own witnesses. To
Yeah.
see him cross Jodi. She doesn't look pretty here, does she? Does she look pretty here?
And what is
Let's hear
exhibit
straight
number
on.
440?
These are text messages sent between Travis and I, dated, well, it says it's dated from 2106 to 6608.
And do you recognize those as being those text messages?
Yes, these are all the text messages. Well, not all of them, some were deleted, but the ones that were recovered, these are the text messages between us.
And as best you can recall, are the times correct?
Actually, no, the time is 7 hours off. It's 7 hours ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Arias. Now, we ended this morning with talking about Ryan Burns, and I believe you were just telling us how misused his brother Zion, told you he found your future husband, that sort of thing. And I think we're at the point in time where Ryan was going to call you, or you received a call from him, right?
Yes, I received a call from him one time when I was walking out in Wairika.
Okay. And had you recalled meeting Mr. Burns before?
I think he recalled more than I recall. The only thing I remember about him is I saw him in Oklahoma City in 2008. He didn't seem very approachable, not because of his manner, but because,
What?
Yes.
Did you
Into the
describe your
microphone,
impressions
sir.
of him when you met him?
yes, he was surrounded by a lot of people, so I don't know if I made my way up to him and introduced myself, or if he made his way over to my side of the room and then we just introduced ourselves to each other. I can't remember that. I just remember it was at a gathering with some people that were on Team Renew. And then also on Saturday night of the convention, a bunch of us piled into a limousine and drove.
Yes, she was asked about her impressions.
Sorry.
Hello,
What
Money
happened,
Money.
Jodi?
The only other thing I remember about Ryan in Oklahoma City is that we all piled into a limousine together. I wouldn't even have remembered he was there, except when I reviewed my pictures later, he was in one of the pictures inside the limo.
So it sounds like that Mr. Lovinger was attempting to play matchmaker between you and Ryan Burns. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. And were you open to dating? How did you feel about it? Would you feel like you were betraying Travis if you dated Ryan? Can you just kind of explain your mindset to us?
Yes, I wouldn't have felt like I was betraying Travis, but I was worried about how Travis would react. So I asked Zion in one of my text messages, said, not that you would, but please don't tell Travis about this. He's a good friend, but in order for this to have any chance, he shouldn't know about it. And Zion texted me back and said, he shall not know.
And why were you concerned, or what gave you concern if Mr. Alexander were to know about you perhaps dating or speaking with Mr. Burns?
Well, it had been a pattern of Travis's since before we dated that he didn't take kindly to me going on dates with other guys. And throughout, well, I didn't go on dates with other guys while we were together, but even after we broke up, I went on another date with John Dixon, and that didn't go well at all when Travis found out. And then there was another guy that I went on a date with, and he teased me about him for forever after, almost. And also when we had that big fight in his bedroom the week that I was moving, that's when I told him about this guy, Steve Carroll, that I was text messaging or chatting with, and that erupted. So I just didn't want to hear it from him. I knew he was 1,000 miles away and he couldn't hurt me, but it still hurt my feelings when he screamed and yelled, and it was a headache and it was drama, and I just wanted things to be peaceful between us.
Even though you were 1,000 miles away, let me ask you this. Were there occasions during this period of time where Travis yelled at you on the phone?
Yes,
Did you do the shaking that you spoke about?
I probably did.
Okay. Now, from your understanding, when you were having these phone conversations with Mr. Burns, where did he live?
My understanding was that he was in West Jordan, Utah.
Okay. So you're not, you're thousands of miles away. Is this a relationship that thrives over the telephone, text message? Describe that for us.
We began talking. There weren't any major fireworks. He was nice. We just talked back and forth for a little while. Nothing ultra flirty, and then it sort of tapered off for some days, maybe a week or so. I think it was like almost a week. And then he texted me again out of the blue, and I explained to him, well, I texted you a few times, he didn't answer. So I kind of thought maybe he lost interest. And then he explained that he was camping and he didn't have cell phone reception. And as a joke, he was saying things like, love her, how could that ever happen? And all these nice text messages. And I thought, okay, well, he does like me. He just was out of cell phone reach. So we sort of picked up again and began talking some more.
Began talking. Now, I know you were hundreds of miles away and you're not seeing each other, but in terms of the relationship, was this a romantic relationship, a prospective romantic
Especially
relationship?
on my channel.
I would say a prospective romantic relationship.
I want to show you what's been marked as Exhibit 280.
Yeah, I wonder how she is today. I wonder if she still has the same sort of like juvenile mindset that is obviously pouring out of her in this trial.
I would assume so. And every benefit she had in life up to Travis has gotten her a lot of things.
Yeah.
So why change?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I have to imagine what 20 years, not 20, 10 years in prison. Well, it's been almost 20, 15 years in jail / prison. I have to imagine that does something to the way you think and process information. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you recognize that?
Yes,
What is that?
that's a text message that Ryan sent to me when we were text messaging back and forth.
Is there a background to that text message that was related to a conversation?
Yes, eventually we talked about meeting, and it would make more sense for me to go out there because there's more to do in Utah by far than there is Wairika. Plus there are national parks and other things surrounding the area he lived. So I was gonna go out there and hang out so that we could get to know each other.
No, Judge, if I may approach. Ms. Arias, I'm going to show you what's been marked as Exhibit 392. Can you look at that and tell us if you recognize that?
Yes, I do.
What is that?
It's a text message Travis sent to me immediately after another one he sent to me.
I move to admit Exhibit 392.
Yeah, I have some of them in my Discord, and Nick and I are going to stream some of the interviews and hopefully start conducting some of our own interviews after we're done with this joint stream of the trial,
I don't have any objection.
which will be
Can
next
you
year
use this
sometime.
exhibit?
But we're going to carry this on until we've exhausted all interviews and options.
Can you see the date on there, Ms. Arias?
Yes,
And I see 0502. What does that denote?
May 2nd. That would have been 2008.
2008. And how can you be sure it was 2008?
I didn't get my Helio phone until April 2008, and that's on my Helio.
What's a Helio phone?
And the text message says, send me some pictures. I want to see you right now. What does that mean?
Oh,
He
it's like a
had
little
just sent
sidekick.
me a much longer text message talking about, alluding to the Little Red Riding Hood thing that he wanted to do, and the pictures that he wanted to take, the same thing we were talking about on the tape that you heard yesterday. And he wanted me to take phone pictures of myself and send them to him right then.
Phone pictures of yourself, like pictures of your face?
Well, explicit photographs.
Ooh, do we get some
What do you mean
more?
explicit?
Maybe nude, like sexually explicit.
If you want to see an example of such, check out my Discord where we have all of Jody's hopes. Jody's hopes.
Yeah. Or
This is a Helio phone, by the way.
yeah. And if you're really, really interested, you go back to day 6, part 2, where the technician in the courtroom made a serious mistake. He was supposed to have audio only and no picture, but he switched it. So it was all picture, but no audio. So all of Jodi Arias was entered into evidence.
And Travis, unfortunately, the poor man.
And Travis. Yeah.
Specific in his request?
That was I think that was the only request that I remember on that day.
This is a good question.
Just a sexually explicit picture, correct?
Well, he said pictures plural.
Jodi
Okay.
is the poor version of. She's
And
the
you said this
original
was
Amber Heard.
also related.
Sorry, say that again.
Jodi is the original Amber Heard. If
That is very
Amber and Johnny was ordinary people, that might have been the same result, because Amber, in my opinion, is quite dangerous. And now she has a daughter to teach.
Oh, yeah, she's going to perpetuate. Let's see. I'm doing a poll. Who's more credible, Jodi or Amber Heard? There you go. All right, there's a poll in my chat if you guys want to answer.
Credibility wise, oh yeah, I want to try to affect that poll.
To a discussion,
So far, it's Jodi 100%.
I believe you said Little Red Riding Hood fantasy. Is that right?
Yes,
Is that the fantasy we heard described yesterday on the tape?
Oh, that's a purse. I was wondering what was in the
yes, that's
background.
what it was alluding to.
Jodi
So
is
on
the Walmart
previous,
of Amber Heard's.
this tape recorded call that we listened to yesterday, had he alluded to that fantasy previously, or was that the first time he brought it up with you?
No, I first learned about it early in our friendship in 2006.
He brought it up in 2006?
Yes.
Vielhammer, Jodi is the Walmart Amber Heard.
I want to show you, if I may approach, Your Honor, what's been marked at 391.
Yeah, at least you didn't stop
Do me
on
a
the
favor
bed.
and take a look at
Leave a
this
present.
exhibit and see if you recognize it.
We have about 25 minutes left of the stream, by the way, because then we're all going over to Farrell's.
Yeah, same here. I will redirect all of you over to Feral Housewives stream after this.
Yes.
Ordered Amber
What
Heard
is it?
from Wish and
It's
got
the
Jodi.
longer text message on that same day, right before the one you just showed me.
Oh, it's the one you were referring to moments ago?
Yes.
Move to exhibit 391.
Here, Nick, a poll that you can do on yours.
Oh, I have this same poll as yours.
Oh, okay.
No objection.
I'm gonna go vote.
I don't need OnlyFans because I have a vivid imagination.
I see you asked yours a little differently. Yours is who is least credible.
And so we're
Yep.
clear, Ms. Arias, before we begin to discuss this. In your recognition
That
of
was a bit
this, was this,
surprising result so far.
we have different pictures of it, but was this part of one long text message?
Yes, it was.
It's like Sophie's Choice. It is.
And 5-2 that we see there, we're talking also May 2nd
Yes, same day.
and 2008?
Yes.
Okay. He says that this photo shoot is going to be one of the best experiences of your life and his. And he talks about all the pictures he's going to take of you. Was this doesn't mention Little Red Riding Hood, so I just want to be clear. Is this what we're talking about?
Yes, that was the only photo shoot kind of thing that was planned at that time, that was of the nature that he's referring to in this.
Okay. And he says the progressiveness of it from the very clean to the very dirty and everything in between. What did that mean to you?
The same thing that he explained further in the tape was that he wanted to get different angles, different shots, different positions.
He says, a day that has not gone by that I haven't dreamt about driving my shaft and hard into you. Is that a reference to your understanding, is that a reference to what we talked about or what we heard on the tape when he talked about zip tying you to a tree?
I hadn't heard about that
That's
because this is the
speculation.
2nd of May and the conversation was on the 10th, so I didn't hear about the zip tying to the tree until that conversation occurred,
Okay.
but presumably in the forest. is what-
Speculation, presumably.
All of her holes.
He
Is that your
references
chickens
in
in the
this
background?
email,
What do you guys call it? Oh,
Do you have is that your chickens in the background? Your
yeah.
hen?
yeah.
Yeah.
My downstairs neighbors are being really loud at the moment. No, Salvador. No. Bad, Salvador. Down.
Oh,
I have no desire to think of anyone else in my scandalous fantasies. Is this a reference to Little Red Riding Hood, or is there a reference to other fantasies to your understanding?
My understanding is that he's saying he doesn't want to fantasize about anyone else except me, but he said that to a lot of girls, so.
Okay.
Objection, speculation.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how did
Creative. Stance.
You
I got to
found out that when he was dating you, he was dating Lisa Anders and Mimi Hall, right?
I wouldn't say we were dating, but I guess we acted like that.
Okay, you're right. Well, I should say when you were having sex with him, he was dating those two other girls, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Now
He
the-
talks in here and in the tape about fantasizing about you and getting himself off on many occasions. To your understanding, is that a reference to him being by himself or a reference to these phone calls, this phone sex you were having with him?
I assumed it was a reference to by himself.
He also says in this message, you are the ultimate flood in bed. What did that mean to you? Is there some history behind that?
The ultimate slut
Yes.
in bed. That sounds like a
What's
compliment,
that
right,
history?
ladies?
Sometimes he would call me that when we were having sex.
He liked the dirty talk.
Is that one of those things that made you feel special, or how did you feel when he would refer to you as a slut in bed?
Well, he wasn't saying it as an insult, so I just felt, I don't really remember how I felt, but I just knew that he was enjoying himself.
He says he wants to send one down your throat and another on your face.
What
did that mean to you?
One down your throat.
Oral sex and
Ejaculating in you?
yeah,
Calls for speculation.
yes.
He also says you're going to get taken like you have never been taken before. What did that mean to you?
Well, it wouldn't be from behind because that happened.
We were always trying to top
around.
ourselves, like go a little bit farther than the last time. And usually he would come up with some creative ideas. So most of the time I was game for it.
Most of the time you were what?
Game.
Okay.
She was game for it. Means she was into it. So this
But how
wasn't like a
about
abuse thing, right? If she's game for it.
feeling like you've been raped, but you enjoyed every delightful moment of it? Did you want to feel like you were raped?
No. But
So you're accurate here. He also says, you'll rejoice in being a whore. That sole purpose in life is to be mine, to have animal sex with, and to please me in any way I desire. Was it your ultimate goal in life to be Mr. Alexander's whore?
no,
Based on what you said before, you were interested in the fond and affectionate feelings you got from him being happy, right?
certainly.
Not being his whore.
Well, I mean, that wasn't like how I would have put it, but if that's,
That's how he put it, right?
well, I mean, sometimes I wouldn't enjoy like being with him. So
Gross. Gross, Nathan.
Were you willing at this point in time in your life, in May 2nd, 2008, to have animalistic sex with him?
Animalistic.
probably,
And please him in any way he desired?
well, there would have been some limits, but mostly yes.
And this was after the abuse and after you'd moved away, you were still willing to do this for Travis, if that's what he wanted, right?
Yes.
You were still willing to be tied to a tree, if that's what he wanted. Is that fair to say?
I'm not sure I would have gone for that, but I let him entertain the idea.
Well,
can
you have
always
to
be
compete
fixed.
with a few other guys.
Salvador and Baker. You got to compete with those two.
Yeah. Mm.
He also asks or talks about him doing anything that you want him to do
Sex slave. Ooh.
in this part of the text message. Can you see that?
Yes.
Were you going to ask him to tie you to a tree?
No, not that.
Were you going to ask him to ejaculate down your throat and on your face?
I don't know that I would have asked, but I probably would have gone for something like that.
You didn't really have interest in Mr. Alexander as a quote unquote sex slave, did you?
No, I didn't look at him like that.
And yet there you were.
Did you want him to be designed for your most vile and lustful pleasures?
No, I don't think any of my pleasures were vile, but maybe lustful, and I didn't expect him to be designed for that.
Then why were you smirking? I mean, juries pick up on that.
Yeah.
She's not, even if she's been in prison for a good number of years before the trial, you would assume some form of reaction.
Why? And this was happening within a day or so of you having conversations or text messages with Mr. Burns. And it sounds like there was a budding, I think we use the words budding romantic interest with Mr. Burns. Why, given this budding romantic interest, are you still entertaining Mr. Alexander's interest?
I still had feelings for Travis, and it was just something that we were familiar with, comfortable with, and I think the comfort came from the familiarity, and it's just something we continued to do.
Oh. Got a member chat. That's on my end? Yeah. Hey, John with the member chat. This defense attorney is creeping me the fuck out. Yes, this defense attorney is a little creepy. I would agree with that wholeheartedly. And it's obvious that he is butting heads with the prosecutor. He's also butting heads with his own client, which does not make for a good defense.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes she acts surprised over some of the questions.
Well, it's clear that he's asking questions that she doesn't want to answer. And so she's being evasive. And that's why I think he's leading a lot, because she doesn't want to answer the questions that he's doing. And even when he does lead her, her answers are no, it meant this, or no, it was at this time. And they're clearly not on the same page, which makes for a really bad defense. So even if you're a defendant and you don't like your attorney, but you're kind of stuck with him, and he says, this is the theory, this is what I'm going to present to the jury, you got to go with it, because otherwise you sound like this. And if you're arguing with your own attorney, it works out bad for you.
Yeah. So
I have a feeling that Sarah Boone's going to have the same situation. She's not going to agree with her attorney's strategy.
No. This attorney, this will work out just fine.
Yeah, no, it's almost like, can I treat her as a hostile witness? Because she's extremely hostile throughout this entire examination. It's not like she's not like yelling at him or angry, but you can tell she clearly doesn't want to answer the questions. He's leading the questions, which usually, when it's a friendly witness and you're leading, they usually go right in sync. But she's, contradicting his leads. It's really weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you a dirty little slut?
Oh, Sarah
Before
Boone is
we-
months away.
Move from
Yeah, Sarah Boone's December.
Yeah.
Right now. Hopefully, I hope it goes in December. Actually, so I might have a conflict if the Crumbly case goes, but Sarah Boone's going to be awesome.
Yeah. And
this time period.
I've heard from not heard, but I've in the grapevine that the Young Thug trial will be set end of October.
Oh,
So that will mean that for the next 6 months, I have a trial to cover.
6 months.
Yeah,
You need to quit your job.
good choice. Yeah. Yeah. So everybody go over to my channel. And if you're not subscribed yet, subscribe. If you think you're subscribed, just check to make sure. And then tell all your friends, family, pets, and grandmothers to subscribe to me too.
Is that dude laughing in the audience? Yes. So Travis's brother is cringing, and it looks like the guy behind him is laughing.
Yeah.
Of your life.
Oh no, he's just like, oh, good. Pick your teeth on camera. That's what he's doing. He's
Yeah.
picking his teeth.
I want to show you what's been marked. Exhibit 4.
Christine, I am coming on with you guys at 2.
414 and 415 and entered. I may both say.
You may.
You need to quit your other job.
Yeah, maybe. But I still need to pay my bills.
Previously?
Yes.
Don't forget to hit the like button if you haven't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could you explain
yep.
this photo to us when it was taken? I'm sorry. This is exhibit 415.
Not that I've seen. No Red Riding
I
Hood
believe
outfit.
that was taken on Main Street or Broadway. I think it was, Oregon Street. It's taken on Oregon Street in Wairika, right out front of her dad's office.
And who is that?
My friend Heather.
Okay. And
Ew,
when was that taken?
It would have been after I moved to Wairika. I don't remember the exact date. Sometime in the spring, I think.
And your hair there, I'll let you describe the color. What color would you describe that as?
I would just say various shades of brown, medium to dark,
Okay.
light to dark, maybe.
Let me show you what's been marked as exhibit 413. Who's that with you in the photograph?
It's my little sister.
Ooh. That's going to be an important picture later.
Do you remember
Yeah,
when this
but
was
they
taken?
shown that picture before with that
We were laying on my
so-called
bed.
expert claiming that she was a brunette before she rented a car.
Right.
To counteract that Hertz guy or whatever it was who claimed he recognized her from her driver's license where she is a blonde.
Right. There's that picture right there is like one of the linchpins that ties this whole, like crumbles her whole case. Not only for that, but for something else coming up, I believe, on Cross.
Okay.
And just goofing off. And we're on my pillow and just took pictures.
Salvador. She has a
Do you
sister.
remember when?
After I moved to Wairika, and it's at my grandparents' house.
Oh, her sister is no longer safe. Salvador found out that she exists.
Darn. But Sal, you can't get to Jodi via her sister.
I don't think he's just going for the sister now. Down, Sal.
Was this around the time of your phone call with Mr. Alexander?
It would have been somewhat contemporaneous.
You said a few disparaging things about your sister during that phone call. What did you mean by that? You said she was stupid. Can you explain?
Yeah. I wasn't aware at the time that she had a drug addiction, and she was an alcoholic, and she was only 17, and she was also coming out of an abusive relationship that she was hiding from the whole family. So I didn't know any of those three problems. So I thought her behavior was a little off. She was kind of out of it most of that time. So I thought that's just how she was, because I wasn't aware that she had those problems.
And
Oh,
here's to
family's
me
not
in this
happy about
photograph,
that.
I would describe the hair color is various shades of brown. Is that what you would say?
Yes.
Okay. Let me show you what's exhibit 414.
I like my women like I like my coffee. Wet.
Do you remember when this was taken?
Yes.
That
When was
looked
this taken?
doctored.
In the spring, also 2008.
Was that with you in the photograph?
Dave, why is
That's
Jodi's
my,
legs moving?
Parents' dog. Her name is Jewel.
What's Dave doing?
I'm right here.
And it appears your hair is brown in these photographs.
Jodi's
Yeah,
legs are
it's-
moving.
It was kind of from maybe dark blonde or light brown
Everything
to
shakes. I
to
gotta
dark
fix this.
brown.
When did you dye your hair brown?
I don't remember the exact day, but it's in the text messages.
All right. So I think we're going to
Yeah.
have to get to her dyed hair and all that good stuff next time on the next joke.
Yeah, yes, Trey, that too. I like my women like I like my cheese with holes.
Yes. So we're halfway through day 18. I think that's going to be the end. It's been just about 2 hours, and we have a feral stream coming up.
Yep.
But she's a lying liar who lies, absolutely for sure. I'm going to end my poll and see where we ended up at. Let's see here. How credible? Ooh, so 89% of people find Jodi more credible than Amber, 10%. That's weird. 89 to 10 doesn't add up to 100, but that's cool.
Yeah, and my poll was who is the least credible, and Amber Heard won by 80% to 20%. Yeah, but there are some eerie similarities between Jodi and Amber. The way they desperately want their lies to be believed, so they take it too far, and then it becomes ridiculous. I mean, just
All
as
the details.
monogamy thing, that she considers herself monogamous, and just 20 minutes earlier, she testified too that she was dating while she was sleeping with Travis, while Travis had another girlfriend.
Right.
And I mean,
well, just like, I remember the whole, I was on the couch, then I was on the floor, and then, my dog stepped on a bee, all that nonsense detail that wasn't relevant to anything that Amber Heard said. You see the same thing with Jodi when she's talking about, well, why did you and Travis get into a fight? Oh, well, I bought this car, and this car was old, but this and that, and then I went to U-Haul, and I got this thing, and then it started smoking, and then and it was just so many details that didn't matter to why you guys were mad at each other.
Yeah,
it's just unnecessary detail leads me to not believe at all. Where are we on our count, by the way? So we didn't really talk about it all on the stream, but Nick and I have a competition we do every dual stream for thumbs up, super chats, and memberships. So it looks like Nick has 55. I have 75. So I win on the
What?
likes. Oh no, I'm sorry. I have 57. I looked at the wrong number.
You have
57 and you
50?
have 55.
Yeah. So at least two of you.
I have 17 new members.
I don't know. I'll check.
I think you got me on the super chats though.
Yep.
I didn't get a single super chat, and you got 5, and
Two.
then another, and then another 2, so 5. So you got $7, I think, is super chats.
Let's see here, members, if it's updated yet.
It's too late. The stream's over. It's too late. Yeah. No.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
11 to 17.
Yeah.
So you went on the super chats. I went on the likes and the memberships. So there we go.
Yep. You did. Well, I didn't get here until an hour in, so
right.
You always
Baker
win
wasn't
when
pushing
I'm
you
not
there.
here.
It's amazing. It's amazing how that works.
Yeah, but Tuesday is another, and I have a few days off next week because this is my work weekend, so I get a few days off.
So if you're new to the stream, or if you're rewatching this on rewatch, hit the subscribe button on one or both of our channels, and so you'll get the notification every Tuesday and Saturday at noon Eastern, 6 p.m. Swedish time or Danish time, depending on how you're counting it. We cover Jodi, and you'll be sent off. You'll be redirected if you have redirect set up on your app or whatever you're watching it on. You'll be redirected over to Farrell's stream. Well, you will see me there in just a few minutes.
Yay!
Farrell's going live. She went live for the first time yesterday, which was awesome, and she's going live again today. And we have an interview with Christine, so that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and Tuesday it's a new Jodi day, and Monday to Thursday, me and Mo are going to dual stream around 10 a.m. Eastern time or 4 p.m. my time. We're going through the Delphi case because all of this new development has piqued the interest of many who weren't there back in 2017 when the murders happened. So we will go through the crime, the arrest, what happened later, and now the new development. So everybody will get caught up with the Delphi case. So that will be interesting.
All right. Well, you all have a good day. I will leave you with our exit that Farrell created, and we'll see you over on Farrell's stream. Have a good one.
Yeah.
Bye.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
State of Arizona versus Jodi Arias,
If it
verdict,
plays.
count 1.
So now,
We, the jury, duly impaneled and sworn in the above entitled action upon our oaths, do find the defendant as to count 1, first-degree murder.